There comes a point in life when we don't feel tired of the world. We feel tired of ourselves, tired of our own thoughts, our own emotions, and our own reactions. Sometimes it feels like we are the ones complicating our own lives. The situation is small, but the reaction becomes so big that it ruins the entire day, sometimes a relationship, and sometimes even the direction of our life. And when everything finally settles down, we ask ourselves one simple question: why did I react like that? The answer to that question is called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence does not mean being strong all the time. It does not mean being emotionless either. It means being wise with your emotions. Psychology says every human being has emotions, but not everyone understands them. And the person who learns to understand their emotions slowly begins to understand their entire life. Today, emotions are often treated as weaknesses. Crying is called weakness. Anger is called bad behavior. Fear is called failure. Sadness is labeled as negativity. But psychology says something very different. An emotion is never wrong. An emotion is an information system. Just like physical pain tells you that something is wrong in the body, emotions tell you that something needs attention. At a psychological level, the problem begins when we either ignore the signal or become controlled by it. Emotional intelligence exists in between these two extremes. If you observe your own life carefully, you'll notice something important. Most of your regrets are not caused by wrong decisions, but by emotional reactions. A sentence spoken in anger, a decision taken in ego, an opportunity missed because of fear. Emotional intelligence is what builds your future instead of repeating your past. The first step is learning how to recognize emotions. Most people say, "I don't feel good," but they don't actually know what is happening inside them. Emotions are not vague. We make them vague. When you say, "I just feel bad," you confuse your own mind. But when you say, "I feel lonely," or "I feel rejected," or "I feel insecure," your brain receives clarity. According to neuroscience, clearly identifying emotions activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reasoning and decision-making. This means the person who can name their emotion can also make better decisions. Emotionally intelligent people do not run away from emotions. They sit with them. They ask themselves, what is the source of what I'm feeling? And when you reach the source, the need to react automatically decreases. Now, there is an important truth you must understand here. Understanding emotions does not mean surrendering to them. You can accept that you are angry, but you still get to decide how you will act. Your emotion is not your boss. Your emotion is your messenger. People who don't understand this difference often say things like, "This is just how I am," or "That's my nature." Psychology calls this emotional immaturity. An emotionally mature person says, "I feel this way, but I will not let this feeling control my values or behavior." And when you learn this, you don't just develop self-control, you develop self-respect. Now let's understand the difference between reaction and response. A reaction is automatic. A response is conscious. A reaction comes from the past. A response comes from the present. A reaction is a habit. A response is a choice. The core skill of emotional intelligence is converting reaction into response. To do this, you must first learn to pause. Pausing is not weakness. Pausing is strength. Because when you pause, you are no longer operating from emotion. You are operating from awareness. When you feel emotionally charged, give yourself permission to not speak immediately. Silence can also be an intelligent response. Psychology shows that the chemical impact of an emotion lasts only for a limited time, but we keep the emotion alive by continuously feeding it with stories. If you stop feeding the story, the emotion naturally settles down. This is why emotionally intelligent people experience less regret, because they don't say things that they later have to explain or apologize for. This is where motivation comes into play. Low emotional intelligence means living life according to mood. High emotional intelligence means living life according to values. Emotionally intelligent people don't ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" They ask, "Is this important?" And when importance is clear, emotion follows. Psychology says, discipline is not the enemy of emotion. Discipline is the trainer of emotion. When you take action, your emotions gradually align. This is why emotionally intelligent people don't wait for inspiration. They create movement. And when movement begins, motivation naturally appears. This connects deeply with relationships. Most relationship problems are not caused by lack of love, but by emotional misunderstanding. We assume the other person is acting intentionally, when in reality, they are simply expressing their own emotional language. Emotionally intelligent people understand that every individual reacts through their own conditioning. Something that feels small to you may trigger old emotional memories. For someone else, this is where empathy begins. Empathy does not mean agreement. Empathy means understanding. Without judgment, you can understand someone's emotions without approving their behavior. And when you learn this, you don't become emotionally weak. You become emotionally stable. This changes communication completely. Blame-based language creates conflict. Emotion-based language creates connection. When you say, "You always do this," the other person shuts down. But when you say, "I feel this way when this happens," the other person opens up. Emotionally intelligent communication is not about winning. It is about understanding. And when understanding is present, conflict loses its power. This brings us back to self-awareness. The more deeply you understand your own emotions, the more clearly you understand others, without confusion. And this is the true power of emotional intelligence.